Bro, Green, why are you busting my shit in?
Oi, we ain't doing shit. You wanna hang out?
I was gonna review a game, sure, as long as you help me out.
Yeah, sure. What is it? Is it gonna be Sonic Heroes?
No.
Is it going to be Sonic Racing Crossworlds?
It's nothing from Sonic.
Then what the fuck are we doing today?
Hi-Fi Rush.
Oh my god!
The Xbox Series X. Not exactly a console known for its exclusives, probably because there are none. But within this very hollow generation for this console, there was a darling of a game that shined the brightest. Hi-Fi Rush was a game that mixed up rhythm and combat to make up an entirely captivating experience. So many neat things about it, and even ended up winning 7 awards. When I personally played it, I was very smitten with it. So much going on with the details and the gameplay, and it was kinda hard to put down after getting a hang of it. So this darling of its success on Xbox's plate, the smartest move they can pull was to axe the studio and place all their cards on Game Pass and AI. How's that working out for you, Microsoft?
Despite having the cards stacked against Tango Gameworks and their newly created masterpiece, a studio known by the name of Krafton, who most would know for PUBG, had actually purchased the studio along with Hi-Fi Rush from Microsoft, saving the game and our hopes for a sequel to the beloved game. Yeah, let's just hope that Krafton doesn't shove AI down the throat of this game. Pretty please? Okay, enough about Krafton, let's get to the origin of the game itself. Hi-Fi Rush is probably the definition of an outstanding shadow drop. For those who don't know, a shadow drop is releasing a game with no prior trailers or anything. Back in January of 2023, at the Xbox Showcase, Tango Gameworks had shadow dropped Hi-Fi Rush for Xbox and PC for Game Pass, which meant players could literally hop off the live stream and try out the game by either purchasing it or installing it as if they had Game Pass. And holy shit did people do that. I'd like to say that Tango Gameworks were not exactly known for bright and uplifting games, as these were the same people who made The Evil Within, a dark and gritty series focused around investigations and nightmarish dream worlds. It's a very trippy series. However, despite the new contrast in their game roster, Hi-Fi Rush had become a small success, with over 300,000 copies being sold in the first month of its release, and overall the game sold around 3 million copies. Fun fact, another game by the name of Forspoken released the day before Hi-Fi Rush, and that abysmal dog shit of a AAA game got smoked by Hi-Fi Rush, which released only a day later.
I mean, it was pretty obvious. You give people the choice between a textbook AAA RPG and a game with unique gameplay and art style. Guess who's gonna want what? But enough dogging on AAA trash. Let's review Peak. And to start, we'll summarize the story. So, we will be dropping a few spoilers, but we're gonna try and summarize everything as spoiler-free as we can so you can enjoy the experience of the story on its own. Anyways, regardless, spoilers. Play is a young man named Chai, a wannabe rock star who signed up for a program to replace one of his limbs with a robotic part. Why does this remind me of something? But he accidentally refused with his Zune. Wait, why is he walking around with a Zune? Never mind, it's not important. This leads to Chai becoming a defect and in requirement of being scrapped. But from the sounds of it...
You know, you don't have to do too much to make me want to beat you around the head and neck area. Trying to talk his way out of getting scrapped, he gets domed right in the chest with a weapon. And this is what activates the music player in his chest. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where the fun begins. Chai's music player powers his robotic metal arm, and he uses the trash picker to turn the metal pieces into a guitar. The player, and Chai, are then thrown into their first battle, only knowing how to attack the enemies. Then, once the first wave of enemies are defeated, the player is thrown into a tutorial on how to properly battle. After the tutorial, we find out that the tutorial space was just Chai being inside of his own head. Hi-Fi Rush has one major component in the world: the characters, the environment, the combat, and even your heads-up display. And that component is rhythm. Everything in the world is now done to the beat of the music, and the player has to keep that in mind as they traverse this wacky world, and the game tries its best to drill that into your head right after the tutorial.
Honestly, I would argue with the fact that this game is a game that can go both ways when it comes to the difficulty, whether it's the amount of skill of keeping rhythm or enjoying the combat as is. I'd say it's both great for learning how to play rhythm games and action games. Just saying, you wouldn't be able to do this in Yoshi's Crafted World. Even if you're no good at the game just like me, when compared to Green at least, it's still very casual friendly, but most of the time it's most satisfying to always try and do it on the beat as intended to keep that rank up. Every little bit of battle makes everything feel like you're not only jamming out, but also on some dance floor waiting to sneak a hit or two in towards each enemy. Honestly, I would say that Hi-Fi Rush has the most satisfying rank system for games in a long time, even though I personally suck at it.
Despite Hi-Fi Rush presenting itself as a complex game, the game itself is both beginner and master friendly, as you are not punished, at least too hard, for being out of time with the music. Throughout the whole game, you are given leisurely moments to be out of time, such as sequences where you need to press the buttons to the beat when they show up on the screen. However, some beginner players might struggle with scripted sequences, as they're the same regardless of what difficulty the player is on. However, this should not discourage new players away from the game. Getting that out of the way, let's talk about how the game presents itself in its various different ways.
Visually, the game is absolutely breathtaking. The cel-shaded art style fitting alongside the combat and overall feel of the game makes everything feel like it's ripped from both a comic book and an animated movie. Everything about the art style pops and bobs with the music. Speaking of which, the music is a constant shining point for this game, which, I mean, come on, no shit it would be, it's a rhythm game. The amount of detail in this game always oozes out of every corner, making this game one of the most creative I've seen in a long time. This game also has quite the sense of humor, and wasn't above throwing in a joke or two during gameplay. I would always find myself chuckling at the jokes the game had. The music, of course, is also a thing that shines brilliantly, and is obviously like the highlight of the game. My personal favorites for the soundtrack are Production Destruction and Heatwave.
I would have to say my personal favorites are I Got This and This Will Be Rough. While a soundtrack alone can't save a video game, Hi-Fi Rush not only made a hardcore soundtrack, but they baked it all right into their gameplay for a legendary experience. Hi-Fi Rush follows an action-adventure experience where you traverse the world while getting into small, or big, zoned brawls. If you ever played games such as the infamous Devil May Cry series, you'll see that the premise is pretty much the same.
I do believe we have both established that the soundtrack in this game is an absolute banger. The gameplay loop is as follows. Progress, beat hordes of enemies, progress, beat hordes of enemies, progress, beat hordes of enemies, yada yada yada. Now, it sounds like I'm trying to make that be a negative for the game. I mean, really, any game can describe like that. It's like saying all you do in Mario is jump.
Thankfully, Hi-Fi Rush has a lot of leniency, surprisingly even on the higher difficulties, which was what I meant by the game being very beginner and expert friendly. I'd like to quickly take a moment to describe the various things that I absolutely adore about Hi-Fi Rush before I eventually get hard limited by something known as Vinch. Just a forewarning, this is a spoiler for the gameplay section. First, can we just talk about the HUD presentation in and out of battle? It's stylized so perfectly with Chai's gauges resembling a guitar the more you upgrade it, and it looks like one of those double-necked guitars when you fully maximize your health and reverb. During combat, you can see the HUD evolve too as your battle rank goes from C to S. It looks like your HUD is even rocking out with the world. Unfortunately, I don't think most will catch on to this as they are too focused on getting wrecked during the battles. What some people might pick up on though is that Chai's metal trash guitar will turn into an astral guitar when you maintain a battle rank of B or above during a battle, which means that you'll have to keep on trashing enemies before you get trashed. This one is probably the most noticeable, but the music also improves when your rank reaches an A or higher during battle. Finally, here's something for you elite players. I'm sure you noticed that if you decided to come back after beating the game once, a difficulty known as Rhythm Master is unlocked, where Chai takes a crazy amount of damage, and you have an added battle condition where if you drop to a D battle rank, Chai immediately dies mid-battle. It's honestly a really fun difficulty if you want to challenge yourself. Something cool that
It's really one of those games that's easy to pick up, yet not too easy to master. A nice story with a lot of characters. Although a nitpick I do have is the fact that it's a cookie-cutter band of misfits versus evil company kind of story. I honestly don't mind it too much due to it being so damn fun. And now, for the tricky part, it's going to be going a little bit off script. But I gotta say it, every single time I've been working on this review with Green, I'm just given a constant reminder of how Xbox just shut down this studio for no reason. The game scored insanely well on Metacritic by critics and users, sold millions of downloads, won shit ton of awards. While Tango was in the process of pitching a sequel, Xbox shut down the studio, which makes no sense due to the fact that Xbox executives just, gave massive praise towards the game. It makes it absolutely ludicrous that the shutdown of Tango Gameworks is just happened. Feels to me that they shut it down just for the money, just to save after the Activision buyout. Either that, or they just shut it down to benefit AI garbage from this company. Even with the announcement of Project Helix, I don't see Xbox staying as a console or as a business too much longer. All of this keeps up. Xbox, Microsoft, if by chance any of you are watching this, it's time to get your shit together. This was one of your biggest hits in a long time, and you sullied it just because of no reason. I hope you get your act together. Project Helix on the horizon. Essentially, this is your last chance as proving you have a mark in the game industry.
Coming from someone who mostly grew up on Xbox, I gotta agree. Xbox needs to get their shit together because I'm driven more to PlayStation and Steam each and every time they do dumb shit like this. Thankfully, like I said, Tango got acquired by Krafton, which means the sequel is not dead, thank God!
After all is said and done, Hi-Fi Rush proves to be a very strong staple to the industry that video games don't need paid DLC or microtransactions or gritty live action cutscenes with quick-time events to be fun. They just need a game with visuals that are beautiful, a fun gimmick, and a gameplay loop, charming characters, and an incredible story. What it needed was to be art, and as Green stated, I truly hope we do get a sequel one day. Craft on obtaining the studio, at least without AI. Anyways, Hi-Fi Rush scored a 10 out of 10 on Steam, an 87% on Metacritic, and a 9 out of 10 on IGN. I think personally, I give this game a 9 out of 10. Anything you would like to conclude with, Green?
Honestly, yeah. The game is a 10 out of 10 for me. I think Hi-Fi Rush was the breath of fresh air that not only the gaming industry needed, but also one that I needed. I mean, the game is just a love letter to music and video games. The amount of punkish energy that it oozes along with the saving the people from a villain cliche is exactly the kind of video game I'd play for hours. It's an inspiring game, and it makes me want to create my own game that radiates the same level of energy as this video game world does. John Johannes and Tango Gameworks did an absolutely beautiful job with this game, and I cannot wait for the sequel. That's all from me.
And that should wrap up our review on Hi-Fi Rush. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and sorry it took so long. Go check out Green's channel when you're done here. He has a lot of clips to put the aura in aura farming. Honestly, not sure what review is next. I think I want to keep doom scrolling for now. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll get a new review eventually. Take care, guys. Wait, Green, I realized something. The person Chai reminded me of. It reminds me an awful lot of—
Oh, God,